Hey, KinShun here with another video of Dragon Blaze. This video is for the Paladin, also Paladin skill build and how I like to build my Paladin for Dragon Blaze. The Paladin is a very versatile class, very popular in the Korean Dragon Blaze as well as the global Dragon Blaze. And it's very much preferred for most of the modes. So without further ado, let's get into it. And we'll have him do this little dance before we do. Alright, he looks pretty cool. So let's go into inventory. Because of the skill link, I'm able to use the same equipment as I have for my warrior. And as you can see, I built him as a offensive paladin. Each of these jewels gives strength. So I think that's the best, because if you're going to give him jewels that give him more defense and stamina, he's a pretty tanky character himself, and I don't think it's necessary to do that. That's just personal preference. Just let me know if you guys think differently down in the comments. Otherwise, I would increase attack speed as well as decrease cooldown percentage for this guy, so that his skill can reset. He's got really useful skills, as you can see, and we'll go into that in just a second. Again, in terms of stats, I would get at least strength for each of the pieces of equipment, armor-wise, and then stamina as a second. Here, I didn't want to go ahead and do the strength and stamina because I got lazy, as you can see, but I got two orange stats, which means, I think that means it's maximized, I think. So I couldn't complain, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So there we go. And then again, my Paladin, I don't usually play him that much. I haven't actually unlocked these two additional accessory slots, but if you are maining a Paladin, I would highly encourage you to do that, as well as these item slots as well. Alright, without further ado, here's the skills for the Paladin. So Paladin is a very unique character with very versatile skills, like I've explained. And it's all based off of his aura skills, whether you play defense or offensive auras. So we can start with this first, and we can base the other two skill sets based on these two different skills. So depending on which aura you activate, it'll produce different skill sets for the next two skills that I'm about to explain. But in terms of these auras, one gives you attack of 15, one gives you an attack and one gives you defense, pretty much for the whole party. And then as you keep going into the awakened state of these skills, it gives you about plus 70% and 15 or 70. Can't talk. 70% for attack and 70% for defense for the whole party. And then when you master, you actually decrease the area of effect damage by 15%. So if you choose to maximize this, which I've seen a couple Paladin builds do this, it's real helpful for the rest of the party. So you can play as more of a support Paladin in this case. Now going into the other two skills, I'm going to start with Repentance. Depending on which aura you activate, the offensive aura or the defensive aura, you do two different things. One inflicts damage to the enemy, the other recovers HP to the entire party. Now as you keep going, you deal more damage, and you also decrease the attack of the enemies by 50%, and you also heal more depending on which aura you use. All the way up to the awakened state, you deal the most damage, decrease attack, and recover lots and lots of HP to the rest of the party. And I think the cooldown decrease, no it doesn't, it's still 7% or 7 seconds. So it's real good to have the cooldown proc. If you were to do this, you can switch between healing and also attacking with this skill. Very useful. Now the second skill is very popular by the players, the community standpoint. So the first one deals AoE damage, decreases attack speed by 30% on all enemies, and then the defensive version of the skill cast a blue shield to one ally. And now if you actually increase the level of this, you get a higher level of the shield that it's cast. And if you have Kaimel in your party, you see that one of her skills is able to cast a blue shield around all your party members, and this skill mimics that pretty much. If you're on the defensive aura casting this skill. In terms of offense, you do AoE damage, and it has a chance of stunning all the enemies. Same thing with the awakened states, and it does actually more damage. You decrease the damage received by 12%, it reflects 20% of that damage in terms of the defense state. So it's a really, really versatile skill. AoE damage versus AoE reflect and shield. This is a very popular skill build for most players. I've seen people use this skill build for the heals as well as the damage. I think this does more damage. Yeah, this fist does more damage, but this has a lower cooldown and it heals. So depending which one you want to use, I've seen both used, but most players would pick this skill tree. And then I've seen a handful of players that would pick, maximize the passive, the attacks and defense of the rest of the party. Moving on to the passive skill tree, we have Sacred Prayer, which increases defense. Genuine Faith, which boosts additional damage to your attack. I think this applies only to your Paladin. And also Blessed Battle, which increases Paladin's heal by 12. Now, since I'm not playing the first skill build, or skill tree, this is pretty useless because I'm not healing anybody. But you can also increase the Paladin's skill damage by 12%, which is pretty good as well. Again, if you were to have two different skill builds, as I would say after with the release of the Busters and Awakened characters, I would have one skill build dedicated to keyless Paladin and a skill build that's keyed Paladin. Yes. Of course, only having one skill build and not having the other one locked, this is just dedicated as a keyless Paladin. So this is what I would do, and I would put both of these, max both of these passes as much as possible, as they are able. You're able to increase your defense and boost additional damage to your attack for the Paladin. Unfortunately, that only applies for the Paladin himself. So, but this works as well if you're in the Buster mode. And again, like most players would pick the middle skill tree. In terms of keyless Paladin, or keyed Paladin, I would max the Awakened passive, obviously, just because you're in a Buster, and this would increase your HP, your damage received, and as well as your stats. But I would also increase all of these to max, just because you are in a Buster, and these when you are in a Buster, these passive still applies, and you are not you're not using any of these skills right here. Depending on if you're in a using the Dark Soul key or also the Dragon Buster Omega key, these skills won't apply. But if you have leftover skills, I would put it in either heal or the aura. My first choice would be the aura. In the case that your Buster dies and you have just the Paladin, you have this for the rest of your party for maybe like 2 seconds before your Paladin dies. So that's just my take on it. And this is, of course, for a level cap of 102. So it'll be different when the level cap increases, and also probably my play style. So that's all for the Paladin. If you like the video, please comment down below, and if you have any suggestions or opinions about my skill build, again, disclaimer, you can build a Paladin several different ways. This is just my opinion and how I would like to build a Paladin on Dragon Blaze. Feel free to comment and let me know if there's other builds that would work for you guys. If you like the video, please comment, subscribe for more videos for Dragon Blaze. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys later soon.